We have to find a way to talk and have dialogue and be tolerant between other views.
You have to have open dialogue, and that's where free speech is so important.
Consent's a very important thing, and today in the Me Too movement, it's been very important because I think it's really opened up a lot of eyes.
Cannabis is a healing herb. We as the people, we need to stand up and make a move.
If you committed sexual assault, it doesn't matter when it was, you should be held accountable for that. However, we have to make sure that we actually make sure they committed sexual assault, and we have to make sure that all allegations are verified.
They'll put in these programs thinking that it'll help everyone, but what they forget is that the pathway to hell is paved with good intention.
And I think that's what this whole movement is all about anyways, is trying to be open to ideas.
Welcome to the Liberty Talks podcast, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Mike Anderson, and I'll be your host today on the podcast. Lately, we've been talking a lot about hoax, hate crimes, racism, outrage, all sorts of things today, especially in this hyper political, hyper climate that we have here today in America. And today, I want to give you a different perspective than you're used to. We're going to be talking about bias confirmation, media, and we're going to play a couple clips today from Trevor Noah and Isiah Carey. So I'm going to go ahead and play one of these clips from The Daily Show. And before I play this clip, I want to give you a little intel about just The Daily Show. So some of you may or may not know, but I grew up as a liberal. You know, a lot of people associate me as a Republican nowadays, a conservative. I'm very libertarian. I do work with the Republican Party, and I do find myself being more and more conservative, but like Dave Rubin, I think my liberal positions have turned in, or my liberal principles have turned into a conservative position. So I think the left has gone really, really left. I think that's what happened in the Democratic Party. But I say this to say that I used to really enjoy The Daily Show. I really, really enjoyed The Daily Show. I thought it was amazing back in the day before Trevor Noah. And I don't give Trevor any crap because it's just Trevor. I kind of fell off watching him because I used to watch him. I kind of fell off watching him during about 2015, 2016 when the Trump election coverage started coming, because then every single day it was just like Trump, well, everything's blowing up, the world's ending and Donald Trump's like running for president. It was just like dumb coverage. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. Another good example, actually, you guys should watch this, is the series Weeds. It's about marijuana, but that there's a character in that show. He's the uncle, and he's just like this like classic, like I would say classic liberal, but he's like this old-fashioned liberal guy. He's like anti-war, pro-civil liberty. He's like, yeah, we should legalize weed and end the drug war, and we should end the wars all over the world. And it's like, yes, that's what the Democratic Party used to be, or that's what liberal principles used to be. Or at least that's what I thought. Anyways, I'm going to play this clip.
What I do know is right now, the story just doesn't make sense in the pieces that it's laid out as, right? Like, I'm not saying that he is lying. I'm just saying that his story doesn't seem to line up with what's happening, because these guys admitted to punching him. So that part of the story is now effectively dead, right? You can't look for people when they said, yes, we are the guys that punched him. Now the story is going to be, did you pay them to punch you or not? Are they part of it or not? And then it has to be like, well, then why did they do this to you just randomly? Like, wow, two Nigerian guys walking around in Chicago's freezing weather and then shouting, this is MAGA country. Like, it's a weird thing to shout as a Nigerian person. It's just like a strange, so yeah, no, like I don't know where it's gonna go, how it's gonna go. I do know if I was Trump, this is a home run in my world. Because so many people jumped on board before they even like waited to see what it was about. They're like, just like, I don't know, we live in a world where people are too enthusiastic at jumping at stories that confirm their biases, and instead of just pausing and going, what do I make of the story? What do I make of this story? Of my own volition, forget your political anythings. You know, this is like, does it confirm your biases? That's when I always think you have to be even more vigilant, is when it confirms everything you've believed. And this goes for both sides of people, because Trump supporters are in the deepest conspiracies ever. It's not like anyone's immune to this. But I think increasingly, since Trump has come into power, people have become increasingly willing to accept any story that confirms anything about a Trump supporter or Trump or a white person. Or it's just like, and I always go like, do not become the thing that you disdain. Do not become the thing that you hate, because then what are you fighting for if you've become the thing that you're trying to fight against? So just take a moment, just be like, yo man, how do I feel about the story? What is this? And then you go from there. And I will say, if Justice lying, like he's completely screwed. I don't know where you go. I don't know where, you know? It does sound like an Empire plotline, I will say that. Like, if I was the Empire people, I'd be like, we'd set the whole thing up as a commentary on society. That's what I would do. You know, and now he's like, oh, the cops, how do we trust these Chicago cops? They've lied about so many. Yes, don't get me wrong. The Chicago PD has lied about many things when it includes themselves. The cops have lied to further their own goals. This had nothing to do with them. It wasn't a story about police. It wasn't a story, yeah, they lied about Laquan McDonald. They lied about shootings. They've lied about drugs on people. But this is a completely separate thing where they had nothing to gain or lose by him being proved right or wrong. Like, either way in the story, they were going to arrest a black person, so they were winning. So, I don't see why the cops are suspected in it. But we'll see how it unfolds. It's going to be interesting.
So, The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. I saw that actually on Facebook because, like I said, I don't really watch The Daily Show anymore. It's just not my thing. But I saw that and I just really liked it. Talking about confirmation bias and talking about, you know, looking into things. Noah said, you know, when it confirms your bias, at that point, it's time to be more vigilant. You know, this type of rhetoric actually sounded like liberalism, what the Democrats used to be, right? Noah seems very liberal. Maybe he just bought into redistribution of wealth, but in this clip, he seemed actually really liberal instead of very far to the left. He seemed very open-minded, and he made a little joke. It's kind of funny because it's like, either way, you know, the cops, you're going to blame the cops now but that's a weak argument. Either way, they're going to arrest a black guy. Wow, that's something else. But yeah, it's something else. It really makes you think about what kind of society are we living in today, and how do each and every single one of us react when we see media? Because now we live in a day where you can get and know anything instantly by the press of a button, literally. You know, you have a computer in your pocket that only, you know, very select few people had back in the day, and your phone runs a lot better than they did even 20, 30 years ago. So when we spread information so fast, it should make us think, how are we reacting to that media? And I mean, I'm on social media a lot. I, you know, watch YouTube videos. I watch the news. I consume a lot of media myself. I'm on a podcast too, talking about media, but I'm producing news and whatnot as well. But I try to take a step back and look at things, and that's what we do here at Liberty Talks. We try to come at things from a more objective point of view, present some facts, let you draw conclusions, and then give our take on it, what we think, usually more of a libertarian or conservative mind on it. But a lot of people right now are saying, oh, this is just another thing. You know, the media did it 2 weeks ago. They did the same thing to Kavanaugh. They did the same thing to, you know, the Covington Catholic students, or as we did in our podcast, the white kids wearing MAGA hats. You know, like everybody got triggered. It turned out like nothing happened how the media spinned it. It didn't match their narrative. But this reminds me of something I was actually going to make a podcast on. I was going to talk to you guys about over the new year, but I didn't think it was appropriate. I just didn't feel it in my heart to do, but I think it's probably more appropriate now. Talk about Jazmine Barnes from Houston, Texas. If you don't know that name, the case of a little black girl getting shot in Houston around the holidays may ring a bell. It was blown up to be a national news story, and it's a heartbreaking story where I believe the little girl's birthday was just right around the corner, maybe in February. You know, the holidays were not that long ago. My birthday is coming up, and my birthday's in February, and this little girl loses her life to someone who does a drive-by shooting, like while they're driving. So the report says that it's a white person, and the media and Sheila Jackson Lee and everyone blows it up that could be some white supremacist, some white person trying to kill black people. And it was ridiculous. It turned out after a couple of weeks, they found actually a young black individual ended up being the person who shot them. And it was mistaken identity. And it doesn't make this case any less heart-wrenching. I mean, I'm sure that, you know, the mother and the father, you know, didn't feel any less of a way, you know, depending on what the skin color was. They just wanted to see justice, and nothing can change what they went through and what they lost. But what the media did with that story is the same thing they did with Jussie Smollett and Covington Catholic students, and what some would say Kavanaugh or even Trump. What they do with him, they blow up these little clips and snippets and try to place their narrative into it and push it on you. That's what, and it's not just the media. I mean, like, individuals can do this. Like, I can do this. Like, you guys should hold me accountable if I do this. If I just show you one perspective, you know, call me out on it. I try to show multiple, like I said, at Liberty Talks, we try to show multiple perspectives. We try to be objective and then give our opinion on it. And we'll be right back.
Who do you love? Say I'm not cool enough. Guess I don't do enough for you. It's about me now. Yeah, all that's gone out the window. So don't try to call me, cause I probably won't hear it. I don't feel sorry. I'm a bad, bad, bad girl. Good intentions in the midst of it all. I'm bad, bad. Dress heels and all. Got my red bottoms. Dim the lights, live your life. I'm going out tonight.
Slim Thugger, Chiemeri. You can't fool a fool, man. You're bound to get caught. Keep your eyes open. Walk one.
This is an awful little game. A little game I like to play. I know how you want it, babe. But when I dress like this, you know I'm asking for it, babe.
So I'm speaking of Jazmine Barnes. I'm speaking of Trevor Noah, Jesse Smollett, this whole media outrage thing, media in general, how we use and absorb media. And I want to play another media clip from my friend Isiah Carey in Houston, Texas. This was something that was being blown up in Houston, just along the city, and Isiah Carey stomped it out hardcore and came out and told people, hey, look, I'm a part of the news, and you're hitting me up about this. I'm going to tell you straight. So we're going to play this clip right here.
I've been tagged, DM'd, and instant messaged to death about a so-called lynching of a black man in, of all places, the Greens Point Mall area. The video showing the man hanging from a tree in the 1700 block of Greens Road surfaced Sunday on social media. It is in fact real, but it's not a lynching as so many of you have claimed on social media. Some are even saying this is a next Sandra Bland case that members of the media are trying to hide from the public. However, the Harris County Sheriff's Office says it is a man, a 44-year-old white man, who took his own life, not a black man. Do I hear your interest going down the drain now that you know he's white and it doesn't fit the narrative? On a serious note, suicide is a subject we don't typically cover on the news because it is an intensely personal and private matter. But you guys were so dogged on social media to say this was a lynching that I took my own camera out to the area to get you some dang answers.
Have you seen any racists or white racists out here lynching black people in the Greens Point area lately?
No, sir. Never seen it happen.
You think it will happen at some point?
Never. Not in this area.
Why not this area?
Because it's predominantly black, and the way the area is, it just won't allow that type of stuff to happen. The way, just the area, blacks in this area, it just won't happen.
And you did hear about the man found hanging in the tree?
Yes, sir. I heard about it and also seen the video.
Okay. And what did you think about it?
I just thought it was strange that it hadn't made the news. Anybody hadn't said anything about it. So, and it was just weird because I thought it was a black guy.
But now you know it's a white guy.
Yeah, now I know it's a white guy.
So you don't think anything strange about it?
Yeah, kind of funny. It might be the other way around.
And what do you mean by that?
It may be blacks doing lynching. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Man, you know blacks ain't lynching them damn people. You really believe that, Marcel?
Well, just in the neighborhood, it may just be something where they may just be trying to make it look that way. I don't know.
We'll see what Isiah Carey finishes off on this as well.
Forget the drama. Now, once again, the Harris County Sheriff's Department says it was not a lynching. It was not a black man. And the residents say they haven't seen any black people being lynched in the Greens Point area in recent years. If we do find a case, we'll be the first to report it here on The Factor Uncensored.
So it is just like that, guys. I mean, more or less. That's another case just in Houston that happened locally within the city. And it's the same thing with Jazmine Barnes and now with Jesse Smollett. People thinking, people thinking and then reacting to it on that one. But on the other ones, maybe people trying to utilize the media. That is what happens. A lot of people stand up. They try to get this media attention. They're always trying to get into the spotlight. And is it really worth it? At the end of the day, Jesse, he did all of this allegedly because he wanted a better salary. He wanted a better job. But was it worth it?
Once upon a time, we were in a fairy tale. Love, Alice in Wonderland, you were my Superman. All that I wanted in love. Wedding plans check, big house check, 3 kids check. Somehow ended in a mess. You weren't the man that I thought you were. Wasn't your girl, but your prisoner. My head says go your own